Good evening and welcome to the Standards of Geekness podcast. I guess at this point I'm one third of the hosts here. Evan, aka Easy E, the Love Hammer of Justice.
I'm Brian Mercer. I'm just shaking my head over here. He's he's actually like a permanent facet of this show now.
I
Oh
know,
God.
surprisingly, he does well amongst middle-aged UK white males who wander New Orleans streets.
Hey, you got to appeal to a global audience, and you got me.
I'm sorry, audience.
Exactly how does that make us appealing to a global audience?
It's like a net negative. All right, guys, enough Raz and Dan. Let's jump right into it. First and foremost, before we talk anything wrestling specific, we just want to say that we're really happy to hear that Jim Ross had successful removals of his surgery of the cancer that he was diagnosed with recently. I'm super excited. You know, it's sad when we see wrestling legends pass and go through all the health issues like we saw with Steve Mongo McMichael. Whatever issues that Sabu went through. It's when you see the success stories and the heartwarming stories, it also needs to be highlighted too.
Absolutely. Great to hear that Jim Ross is on the mend and doing better. I think for a lot of us, he's kind of the voice of wrestling in our childhood. I know he is for me. I like.
Yeah. Same.
My God.
My God. My God, he broke cancer right in
Even
half.
when in my era of the PG era, he was still the voice of Raw, and then eventually SmackDown with that whole trade system. Like it was a bit.
We don't talk about that era, Dan.
Yeah.
Well, okay. What's your favorite Jim Rossism?
Ooh.
You son of a bitch, Austin! You son of a bitch!
I think
son of a bitch
when
thing.
Jeff Hardy jumped off the ladder through onto the announce table into CM Punk, I think that moment to me was so iconic. Like just
there's so many more things like where like Jeff Hardy jumping off the Titantron, like the Jim Rossisms
The
there, like the TLC
the
match.
the call for somebody to stop the damn match when Foley went off the cell is mine. That's that.
Yeah.
Anytime he said slobber knocker,
it's a good old fashioned slobber knocker.
Slobber knocker.
Boomer
it's
sooner.
weird because like you wouldn't
Boomer
think,
sooner.
It's really weird because you wouldn't think like an announcer would be that good at his job. I mean, especially when you've had commentators come and go. Like it's always.
I mean,
he's always
JR's been around since the early.
wrestling.
He's been around since the early '70s. He was he was the ring announcer. He was a booker, manager, talent relations. I mean, he's kind of done it all. He's even I'm pretty sure he's been involved in a match. I don't recall a specific match.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
no,
I still remember when he was
been involved in a couple of matches.
Yeah.
The thing that makes Jim Ross, I think, so special is that like he is so iconic and is such a character as just an announcer. He's never been like a manager. He's never been an in-ring, like a full in-ring wrestler. You know, he just doing a match here and there for gimmick reasons.
Yeah, I'm just glad that he's okay. We've seen a lot of wrestling legends, go recently, and I don't think our childhoods can really handle losing JR at this point.
Yeah,
I don't want to lose JR.
Why? It just seems to be a lot of like the Attitude Era and the '80s era that like a lot of people seem to be dying, which is quite concerning. You know, and it's like maybe it's just you could tell maybe like wrestling's more safer nowadays. You're not really hearing about many like modern wrestlers' deaths, apart from maybe someone like Bray Wyatt. But even then, that was more just due to like health complications.
Well, I mean, I think there are plenty of. I feel like wrestlers are dying all the time and way too often.
Yeah, it's
my personal opinion. It's an industry that is very unforgiving on the body, and the longer you do it, the more it just takes and takes and takes from you. And the thing is that I don't know if you can fully understand. It's like a drug. It's addicting to get out there and be in that ring and to be in front of that crowd and to be part of those stories and be part of the show. It feels good. It's fun, you know.
Yeah.
And the wear and tear and the pain that you take is, unfortunately a part of that. But
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like it sucks because you could tell, like, I think it's definitely something like what's his name? Roddy Piper said when he's around the round table with his three like legends. He said, and I quote, most wrestlers and himself don't make it to 60, so he's not going to see that huge payout. He's not going to be able to see the fruits of his labor, and it sucks because there's a track history of wrestlers that are not even making it to 60, and if they do make it to 60, they're gone. Like maybe a few years.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised Hogan and Flair have made it as long as they have.
Yeah.
A lot of the
especially
wrestlers from their
about
era
Flair's
have.
history of like pills and
Yeah, once you had
alcohol.
injuries, you had any drug and alcohol addictions. Like there's so many things that go into the darker side of wrestling that people don't see. And it's also it's like Brian said, it's an unforgiving industry, but it's also an unforgiving psychological toll too. Like CTE, people didn't understand concussions and the brain health. We still barely understand it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of wrestlers that have permanent brain damage, permanent mobility damage because they took too many shots to the head. Didn't know better.
And that's why Michael Wrestlers like someone like Daniel Bryan, who's constantly doing the flying like headbutt. Like that's what concerns me because I don't know like how it can affect him later on in life. I mean,
well, I think he's done. He's done. It's been his stance in interviews, which is fair, and I can respect the way he went out. Moving on to different topic. WrestleMania 42. So I'm not sure if you out there heard, but earlier this year, The Rock announced that WrestleMania 42.
I got my tickets for New Orleans. I picked them up earlier this week. All three of us we're heading down to the Big Easy. It's my surprise for you guys. I was going to surprise you on the pod today. So we're heading down to New Orleans in April to film WrestleMania. You guys excited?
Ooh, I would be very, very excited.
Yeah.
But they changed the venue.
What?
It's in Las Vegas again.
All right, look, I know I'm doing a bit here, but seriously, was there any point at this point where we're at now? There was no point in The Rock showing up at the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every single thing he was involved with.
Ticket sales.
Yeah, the announcement that he was there to announce apparently is botched, and the storyline he was there to be a part of
botched
is so botched. Like, I don't know if it at this point, at where we're at now, I don't know if you can actually even come back.
No. And
can I
especially with
point
Western
out,
fans, he has paid his legacy a bit.
Just to point this out, we just had Saturday night's main event and everything, and apparently we're going to get a tag team match, and John Cena's partner is going to be Logan Paul.
Oh,
not The Rock, not Travis Scott, not anything that would make sense for the pieces of this story that we've been given. No, we're just
Yeah, so there was a report that broke earlier today actually regarding that. Apparently Travis Scott had been training with Booker T, but had decided at the last minute to pull out, and this is why we're seeing them pivot towards Logan Paul teaming with John Cena for the next pay-per-view.
I will say right now, I mean, as a John Cena fan, it just feels like such a waste of a match on John Cena. Like, you noticed this last year in West End, you're wasting his time on a tag match. A tag match that nobody's asked for, ever wanted to see.
I'm okay with them putting him in tag matches that make sense. And this could have made sense had they built maybe Logan Paul into the Rock equation, as a Hollywood connection. But it's very telegraphed that this is a filler match.
Yeah.
Not only is the Rock's appearance earlier this year like bullshit, but like you have to feel bad for New Orleans because they don't get a Mania, which Mania can be a huge economic boom for a 1 to 2 week period for a city, and that matters a lot to tourism. But like they don't even their replacement is they get a Money in the Bank after SummerSlam next year.
Yeah.
Right now they get a Money in the Bank, but
in a future WrestleMania to be date.
In 6 months, it's going to be 2 Raws and a PLE to be named down the line in 2029. Like I don't.
Evolution 10.
This is bad business. This is just bad business. You make a deal. You made the deal very publicly. If you want to go back to Las Vegas, you can go back to Las Vegas for 43. Why do you have to instantly turn around and go back right this second?
Last year was a record-breaking profit year for TKO. This is solely driven by corporate greed. Not only has it since, and everybody knows I don't give a fuck about Vince McMahon. I think he's a piece of shit. And he's done horrible, horrible things.
Of course.
But I couldn't imagine this ever flying in Vince's regime.
No.
Not only have they prioritized corporate greed and maximizing profits, like pushing the gas further on capitalism, which don't get me started on that, they've made it almost unaffordable for your average wrestling fan to attend. Last Mania I attended was 23. And I could afford it up until a point. I'm not spending, a quarter of a year's salary to get tickets to Mania in Vegas. It's just not happening.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing. And I think that this is really being missed. And I don't hear anybody honestly talking about this aspect of it. But to me, it's a huge aspect. I compare, and maybe this is too much, but I compare WrestleMania to the Olympics, to the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, World Series, all big events.
When the Olympics is in your country, that is a huge deal, especially for the people in that country. Okay, whatever country it's in, when the Super Bowl is in your city, even if your team isn't playing in it, like it's a big deal that the Super Bowl is in your city. WrestleMania, same thing. Evan's talking about 23 over here. Evan, you live in Michigan. You want to tell me where WrestleMania 23 was held?
Detroit, Michigan.
And would you agree that it meant more than just going to like if you got to go to like a WrestleMania in any city, where would you want to go?
Detroit, maybe Chicago.
Because you live about halfway between the two, and that makes sense because that's home. Okay, so now WrestleMania is coming to your home. So when you get that opportunity for you, Daniel, how long have you wanted WrestleMania to come to the UK? I mean, I've heard it from every British wrestling fan I've ever talked to. That's the dream.
Yeah, it is a dream. Like every wrestling fan wants that because we know we could sell it out in 5 minutes.
It's not even about selling it out. I'm sure you would sell it out, but the point is that like you want to be able to see that live and in front of you and in your home.
Yeah.
And when that is just going to be relegated to being in Las Vegas year after year after
Yeah.
year, guys, you're missing out on what's really, a huge part of WrestleMania, and that is, it coming to your hometown.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You know,
no, that
and
absolutely matters.
what's it called
Saudi Arabia is
AEW
going to get
All
one
In
before
came
London.
to London. You know, when I went to go and see it, obviously the tickets were cheap anyway, but it's like it felt so surreal because you're in a crowd full of people from your home country enjoying wrestling and seeing it for the first time, which, so as big as AEW, we would probably never ever see. I mean, also, yes, we have WWE Wars and, Money in the Bank and whatnot, but never to that big of extent in Wembley Stadium in front of, I think it's like 60, 70,000 people watching. Like, that was huge, and it was such a momentous thing.
What's so great about those huge shows too, for anyone who hasn't been to, I do encourage everybody to go to indie shows and support your local wrestling promotions, definitely.
Yeah.
But if you get the chance, you absolutely should go to one of those giant mega shows when they happen, because it's almost like, I compare it to almost like a religious experience. I remember going to All In, and just the energy from that sold out crowd was like nothing I'd ever felt. The crowd definitely contributes to the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like, that's the best thing about being a Western fan, is like you're in a crowd of people who are just as passionate as you are, and you're all there to witness, history and magical moments.
But what happens when it's the same crowd that is only able to afford the travel and high ticket prices year after year going to WrestleMania?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I like Green Shirt Guy. I like the legacy of Green Shirt Guy. Very cool. But I don't think that wrestling should only be relegated live to one group of people, based on their economic status. WWE has already cut back massively on the amount of house shows that they do. And a house show, like, realistically, that's the bargain basement price for being able to see WWE live.
And even when they did like WWE live shows over here, they were really expensive. You were looking like 40, 50 quid a ticket, and that's just for one person, not even a family of four.
I'm gonna check. I'm gonna find out what is that.
It was. I saw them when I went. It was just.
Can you put that in American dollars? American dollars. We don't know what quid are here.
But yeah, and do you know what? It worries me because
that'd be about $54 in the United States.
Oh, that's cheap.
I agree that is cheap compared to the ticket prices we're paying at this point. But I would also say that the ticket prices that we're paying are unrealistic when you start adding on the price of merch, the price of concessions, everything, travel, parking,
food,
everything is, to this day, the most expensive beer that I have ever bought was at WrestleMania.
Same.
Why? How much was it? I don't know. Like, I don't know how beer prices over there are.
$14 for one can.
I think 12 was what I paid for mine.
You went a couple years earlier than I did.
Yeah.
I was at 27. You were at 23. That's inflation for you.
Like, I looked at a SmackDown taping that's literally an hour north of me next month. Cheapest ticket I could find was $400. I'm not doing that. I can afford it. I'm just not going to reward that kind of greed.
The We were looking at going to an AEW show in Detroit, and cheapest tickets, the absolute cheapest tickets, were 85.
Yeah, and that's a couple of years ago. AEW's cheapest tickets were like, I think when we went to Blood and Guts, I think after fees, I think it came out to like 60 or 70 each. And that
Yeah,
was for a
was it?
pay per view.
That doesn't sound too bad,
And
like price wise.
and we got a bonus Rampage out of it too.
Yeah, we,
Yeah.
we got a double show, and it was blood and guts. I mean, like,
Yeah. Like I think
Yeah.
that's good value for money, but like just
Well, when I went to the Raw, it's gonna be at this or a different arena, but the SmackDown was in Detroit. The Raw I went to last June up in Grand Rapids. I think after fees I paid $50 for one ticket. I got two shows out of that, the live and a TV taping for the following week.
but here's the thing.
It's
Here's
nuts.
something to consider. Okay, when we went to All In, okay, and really that wasn't that long ago. About 5 years.
Yeah, what? 5-6 years, yeah.
5, 6 years. When we went to All In, I was able to get the tickets when they went on sale. Paid $25 a piece for those. You realize that? That was a absolutely huge show with name after name after name after name. People flew in from all over the world for that show. It was a big fucking deal.
Mm-hmm.
And we paid $25 a seat. They sold the place out. Everybody had a great time. Okay. Point is, that show didn't have the advertising and the financial backing that WWE and AEW shows have. So it seems ridiculous to me that you're scalping your live audience when you're trying to fill seats to make it look better on a video product. Stop going after the house. Eric Bischoff already let the cat out of the bag. The money is in all the sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in your house.
No.
You know what? When the house matters in terms of like how the business is going to do. It's in the indie level where I'm at. If I draw, if my show draws an extra big house, it means a couple extra bucks in my pocket.
Yeah,
That's different than WWE or AEW.
Yeah, which are all
Yeah.
flat salaries with downside on merch with a percentage of rev share is my assumption.
Yeah. I definitely do think the first Netflix episode was truly the statement and the catalyst to what WWE is what now and what it's going to become in the future, which is a very corporate,
It's been
player
corporate. It's just
kind of product.
it's always been corporate. The thing is the problem is they're taking a corporate paintbrush to what is essentially a carnival show. It's a vaudeville carnival show. And for those that aren't familiar with vaudeville was a big entertainment form back in the early 1900s, 1920s. Even there, the Depression era, it's where the Three Stooges came from. It's where Laurel and Hardy came from. All the great comedians of that era. A vaudeville show somewhere back then, you'd go to hang out with your family and friends. You'd pay a nickel. You'd see a show. They would sell out most of the time. It was art, and the problem is they're taking a corporate paintbrush to art at this point. You know, I'll be honest. When I see nosebleed seats for $5,000 for WrestleMania, it makes my stomach churn.
Yeah,
I can only imagine there were people paying $50,000 for front row tickets this year at Mania. Is what I was reading. That's nuts.
It's so sad. It's honestly so sad. Like, I went to SummerSlam here in Detroit like 2 years ago. I I believe it was.
Because this last time was Cleveland, wasn't it? And then the one
Yeah,
before
yeah.
that
So
was
the
Detroit.
one before that was Detroit. So SummerSlam in Detroit, 80. I think it was $80. I had decent seats. Got to see a good show and everything. And my point is like there is not a need to have this level of greed and to push out a section of your audience who isn't going to be able to afford to go see it, especially in a time when, like, I hate to say it, but like economics suck.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to
They
get
do, but they're
political about stuff, but
Pandemic
like,
ever.
it doesn't seem to matter where you are in the world right now. Economics suck.
Yeah.
economics dictate everything, and it's sad and it's unfortunate, but I'm really hoping they can course correct this, because if I'm AEW, this is the perfect opportunity to go after the audience that WWE seems to be leaving behind.
Exactly.
And
And
from what I was reading, WWE's Netflix numbers are about on par with where AEW's HBO and cable numbers are these days. I think now's the time for AEW to swing back on the uptick. Outside, I watched Double or Nothing. It was a solid show. Some bad decisions, but some good matches. I think it's a perfect competitive, strategic choice Tony Khan should make to
yeah.
just go all in, no pun intended.
And here's the thing, like that's the thing with AEW, like they have such a good opportunity to kind of appeal to, the I don't want to sound disrespectful here, but lower class wrestling fans who could afford like cheap tickets. Like you could pay like $60 to $100. Like you have a market there. When you know WWE priced them out of that market, you can literally capitalize it. But you just got to provide good wrestling and good storylines. And if you could do that, people are gonna be coming either way. I mean, also, people still come to AEW shows anyway, but you could probably double the house than you would get maybe on the previous show, which was probably double or nothing, I think. So
Yeah. Sadistic Steve here has a interesting take. He wonders how much a WWE house show would be in Wing Stadium. For those that don't know, when I filmed that promo against Ian, Wing Stadium is where it's a hockey stadium here in town. That's where I filmed it at. They used to be. He's not wrong. $15 was the going price. The last time I attended a house show at Wing Stadium, I think it was $30 or $40. That was like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So it's probably more. Wing Stadium is going to be tore down here in the next couple of years as they migrate into downtown, but because they're building a whole big arena complex here, in downtown.
That's so sad. That's actually where I saw my very first wrestling show, WCW house show back in the day.
WCW house show back in the day.
I think it was actually the same show. I think we figured that out.
I think you figured that out, yeah.
But I think it's really a sad thing when you look at those ticket prices and you're just like it's not feasible for you to take your kids to go see a wrestling show anymore. Like,
no,
sorry,
it's not. Yeah, sorry. You might have an interest in it, but I'm not paying $500 for two of us to go see a local show. You want to see some wrestling? I can find an indie show. Take that $500 and make a weekend out of it.
And here's the thing with most, and it's what I was saying, most indie shows probably give you a much better set of entertainment and moments than you would get in a WWE show. Sometimes a WWE show, you maybe get one good moment in the show, while in an indie show, you have loads of good moments. So,
what I'll say about indie shows is you're definitely at this point getting more value for your money.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, you could have the same number of matches. Like I go and I work a show, can have the same number of matches that you're going to see at a Raw or a SmackDown. They're going to have better pyro. They're going to have flashier lights and a big set that you'll see on TV, and you might be able to see yourself on TV when you go home. the undercard of
Yeah.
WWE is going to be superior to the undercard of
Yeah.
the Indies. The higher levels of the Indies
Yeah.
are honestly, they can be just as good as you'd see on a WWE show, or
Yeah.
and where do you think they're getting their wrestlers from?
I mean, hell, I literally went to a Web Pro show. I saw Zack Sabre Jr. versus Puck, right? And that cost me 20 pounds. And I got a fucking insane main event for 20 pounds between Pac and Zack Sabre Jr.
I got it. Hold on. That's $27, guys. That's $27. That's half of what he was.
I'm gonna figure out a way to get
the WWE
a British
show.
money conversion calculator up here running for us.
Oh my god, we need a British counter. Just
How many times does Dan say bruv?
well, oh god, I'm gonna sound like goddamn Bill Ospreay.
What I'm still trying to figure, I'm having to get pounds and quids and like galleons. I don't even know what all your stupid money is.
Do you guys
down
still
there.
use pence? Are pence your pennies?
Pretty much, yeah. Pence is our nickels. Is that what you call them, nickels over there?
Nickels are called nickels. They're 5 cents over here.
Oh, okay.
But we're getting rid of the penny. Haven't you heard?
Okay, so I need to stockpile my pennies up then.
Stockpile your pennies. They're going to be worth money, apparently.
Yeah, when it's the apocalypse and everyone.
All right. Well, before we move into Saturday night main events recap, just as always, we have a new affiliate program we're part of. Let me go ahead and get that up there. Make sure you go to duelingguard.com/SOG. Use the code SOG at checkout to get 5% off your order. That 5% will save you a little bit of money and help fund the podcast to keep things going. We have something cool in the works. I'm not going to spoil it until I have it in hands, but I'm really excited and I'm really looking forward to what we can do with this thing.
I know the thing. You showed me the thing, and I agree. It is very, very cool. You certainly did fucking better.
And I got to get that file up here because Dan's going to say something stupid at some point.
I mean, when have I have never said anything stupid on the podcast? It's like every episode.
Got to have it on the red.
We got lots.
Yeah, so
we got lots of stuff.
Saturday
go
night
ahead.
main event. Yeah. Where do I begin? I've never seen a crowd really into a show and just felt like there's a disconnect between the at-home audience and the crowd. It was a C+, B- show in my opinion. The big return of Cody Rhodes happened, but it didn't happen when it normally should have.
Is that the big return? I thought there was actually a better return.
Bronson Reed returned, so I guess that kind of counts. But let's jump right in. I posted my predictions on the page first and foremost. Brian, you were a little busy with the holiday weekend. Daniel,
I'll just let you know right now. Okay, I'm taking myself out of the running because I didn't put them up on Facebook, but I did get every single one of these right, including the return of Bronson Reed and Cody Rhodes. All of it perfect.
Yeah.
I mean,
as always, it don't matter.
You got evidence, though. You got evidence. I didn't get them all right. I just didn't post them.
You posted it after the show started in the chat. I told
you
to have it up by Friday.
That's true too.
I didn't realize it already started at that point.
No, that was actually part of the reason I didn't end up posting. It was like I had started typing them out, and then I looked at the clock and I'm like, oh no, the show's already started.
I'm a big believer in fairness, so we've got a pay-per-view coming up again. I'll happily defend my title again and retain my titles again. They're nefarious.
Money in the bank.
Oh,
Money
that's gonna be a
shot.
tough one because we got to guess who's going to win the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Well, we
Seth
know
Rollins.
it's not going to be Drew McIntyre.
No.
Yeah, so I guess we'll start with Drew versus Damian Priest. Damian Priest defeated Drew McIntyre in a steel cage match. I'm not sure how you guys feel about it. I think the wrong person technically won, but I know it was the right call given that Drew was taking time off. To me, having Damian have a kind of a it seemed like Damian's really gotten the upper advantage in this feud, and I think they'll recircle back to it once Drew's back. But he's been working injured for a while. Um, I think Damian Priest and Drew. There's a lot of upside.
Yeah.
It felt off for this to end as cleanly as it did.
Yeah, where he just like walked out the cage.
Yeah, just all right. Now I'm just gonna chill. This is over.
Yeah,
Next.
Jesse Ventura's commentary made me pop a little bit. Like I saw a lot of people shitting on him because of the commentary being like subpar in their opinion. I thought he did a great job. Yeah, he talked over his Coco announcer a little bit, but it's color commentary. You're kind of supposed to be obnoxious and rude.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. I think that Jesse Ventura is still looking for that Gorilla Monsoon banter, and I don't think
You're not going to get
anyone. I don't think there's anyone on the WWE side that can give you that kind of roster that kind of banter these days.
I think honestly, get Coach back in there and have him play that role. I think he could do a good job.
Really funny.
Zelina Vega defeated Chelsea Green. Zelina botched a 619 and broke Chelsea's nose. Again, I think the wrong person won here.
Right, yeah.
I don't. My problem with it stems back to the issue they've had with the mid card titles for the women in WWE lately. They're correcting it with the Intercontinental Championship. I'm okay with that. They're doing a good job there. Lyra and Becky have me at least convinced that this is a real feud and that something's going to come of it. But Zelina's surprise title win, and then really they've done nothing with it. They've given her 2 title defenses, and she broke someone's nose on a botched 619. And then I don't understand her character.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's just me. I think her character's kind of non-existent. And for all the shit we give Mercedes Moné
for the LWO, right? What's her character?
It sucks to say, but like ever since she's left like LWO and even like Andrade, she's not really that appealing as a character, and it sounds really like
there's nothing to her. That's part of the problem. Like she's a great personality on Twitch. She clearly has a personality. I just don't think her being a plucky babyface works. I think she needs to be a heel.
Yeah, and here's the thing: like when she was a heel, like that was probably some of her best work.
Yeah, I think they need to give her a heater.
Yeah.
Honestly, what I think would be really funny is if the Secret Hervis left Chelsea Green and went to defend Zelina, flip-flop them, do a double turn, have Chelsea be the babyface, have Zelina be the heel. You could make something work there. But as it stands right now, no.
You definitely could do that because here's the issue. And I think that this is a pandemic across the women's roster in WWE as a whole. I think you have a lot of women who are good heels and not good baby faces. They don't know how to be baby faces. And to be fair, most people will agree that it's easier to be a heel than to be a face. It takes a certain amount of talent and a certain, connection with the audience to be able to, lock into how to be a babyface. So it is frustrating in a certain degree when you see people like Becky Lynch who do know how to be a babyface and can connect with the audience and they're turning heel, or Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green knows how to play a good baby. So I would be okay with that.
I think
It's just one-dimensional is my problem. Like,
Yeah.
all the shit we give Mercedes Moné, Zelina Vega's character is kind of the same way. And that's not to disrespect her in any manner. I just don't get it, and I don't think I ever will. And
Yeah.
WWE's also got it. They have a finite number of hours on TV programming weekly, and when you're putting out subpar matches like this, when you've got, there's a huge bottleneck in the women's division, and I don't think a lot of people realize that. You've got 2 world championships for the women, you've got the tag titles, and you've got the 2 undercard titles. At this point, you've got enough talent. Create a whole show specifically for them.
I mean,
And
Yeah.
at this
maybe,
point,
maybe this is me being a bit delusional, but I feel like it's just another tag division. Same with the men, where they got 2 tag titles.
no.
Evolve.
They barely can
The Evolve show proves that what Evan's saying is logical. That you can not only propagate an entire roster with just the women that they currently have, but that it is something that people want to watch and
Yeah.
have bought tickets for, and that they've tuned in for, and
women of wrestling. Like
Yeah.
the whole women of wrestling, like WWE, TKO, go out and buy that company, and then create a whole company where you do just women of wrestling.
well,
And I think it
know
would be
this
a
is
huge success.
wild
Yeah.
idea. Just bring back the Women of Wrestling TV show over there on Netflix. You can
And do you know what?
Glow.
cross market.
Glow.
I think the
Well,
problem
bring
is
it
as
back.
well, like
Yeah, it's Glow.
they can't keep
Glow.
women's like tag teams together, and the teams they do have that are established as a tag team, they either fire or they just don't do anything with
Well,
it.
the problem is it's a bottleneck. You've got all these talented people on Raw, all these talented women on SmackDown, all these talented women on NXT, and it's a bottleneck because you look at it. You've got Rhea, Bianca, Becky, Charlotte, Tiffany, Nia Jax, and Roxanne Perez, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez. Like there's a ton of talented women, but like then you look at NXT. You've got Sol Ruka, which that's a topic I will get into later. You've got Kalani Jackson. You've got Jada Parker. You've got Stephanie Vaquer. Julia just got called up and is on SmackDown, which I saw that match with Charlotte, the triple threat match with Julia, Charlotte, and Zelina Vega this past week. And like Vega's there literally just to take the pin. But like Charlotte's back to no selling again.
Yeah, I
And
saw because she tries to do that little
perpetually doing it to
neck
people
twisting
she
and then-
thinks are threats.
Yeah.
At this point, I think they need to just put her into the background and let her fade into obscurity. I am so fucking over Charlotte Flair and the drama and the bullshit and the nonsense. I'm fucking done with it. But let me circle back. The bottleneck with all these you're always going to keep having this issue where there's a bottleneck. My idea, have a women's only program where it focuses on women's wrestling and women's wrestling storytelling, and I think it solves your bottleneck. Because then it gives them a pipeline to be featured as an equal brand to Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Evolve.
I mean, but I think the problem with that is like it feels like you're just saying to women, "Well, you're less than the men, so here's your own show." And here's
They already do that though. My point is, fuck saying subtly saying it. Create the program, train them how to do it, have them, Becky Lynch when she became the man was hotter than any male act in the company at that point. The proof is in the pudding. If you put a quality character out there and quality storylines, people will come.
The problem is right now. Okay, look, it's twofold. Not only do you have the bottleneck issue, but you've also eliminated any cross gender like wrestling.
Yeah.
So by taking that aspect out of it, you've drastically limited what kind of exposure newer talent, especially, can have.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you're already saying that by refusing to allow them to to wrestle each other. You're already saying that you don't think that the men and women can wrestle on the same level.
I think this point. The thing is, I think this point only a few people that can actually match up with the men now, and it sounds disrespectful, I know, but
then let them do it. Look, I'll just straight up say it. Rhea Ripley can throw down with most of the men on the roster in a match that I will be perfectly happy watching.
Exactly.
And here's the thing, like I saw recently, Lucha Underground match between Chelsea Green and Penta. Like that was insane. Like I watched it, I'm like, she's taking these heavy bumps and getting slammed into fucking walls and shit. And it's like, why can't we not see that? Like I want to see intergender wrestling. Like there's definitely a market for it. Mm-hmm. And it's just like I feel like there's a risk of like offending people and saying, "Oh,
it's fucking wrestling. Stop being offended by everything. It's fucking wrestling.
Yep.
Do fucking better."
And talking about the mixed max tag matches, like it clearly does work because we saw when
we got a whole Saturday night to get through still.
True. We're going
to get on a tangent.
We've been on a few tangents. So Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker defeated CM Punk and Sami Zayn. Bronson Reed returned, costing Punk and Zayn the match. This was pretty easily telegraphable that something was going to happen. As a matter of fact, a few weeks ago, I literally pitched the same idea of having Bronson Reed be the one to join them. I mean, it was an okay match. Obviously, the story's far from done.
Maybe I sound like your typical wrestling fan, but I don't get it. Maybe I just don't understand it, but like, I don't understand why Bronson Reed. Maybe that's just like how you're meant to expect it from a wrestling fan.
So the logic they pitched the logic the following night on Raw, or the following Monday on Raw. So basically, it was kind of a Bronson Reed did more damage in the couple months him and Seth interacted with than Roman Reigns did in 10 years. So Seth wanted him to be part of the fold with him to help elevate him about the future of wrestling. And like, this faction still doesn't have a name, mind you.
That's what was really bothering me watching Raw last night. It was just like,
just call them the Dangerous Alliance and get it fucking over with.
Right.
Well, did they ever explain like why he's not with like
Shield 2.0?
Did they ever explain like
Solo and because they're over on SmackDown?
Yeah, but like I feel like they should kind of like tie it up a little bit. Even if he is going to go with Seth, like.
But it already got tied off when they had the Survivor Series War Games match.
True.
No, I understand. I understand what he's saying. You know,
it's confusing
because there is an argument to be made that Bronson Reed is just jumping from power group to power group. You know, Bloodline 2.0. You guys are rolling strong with, Batangas and Jacob Fatu. So I'm gonna come join you. Oh, I got put on the shelf. Now I'm gonna come back and now I'm gonna team up with these new guys that are going strong. Like it.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder. It makes me wonder if the Bloodline story was going better, if the whole like Solo Sikoa side of things was going better, in terms of just presentation to the audience, if he would have been put there instead of what are we calling him now? JC Mateo?
I'm calling him Jeff Cobb. Fuck that name.
Yeah, like I don't understand the name, but I think it's got something to do with like Japan or whatever. But like,
it's because Jeff didn't want to sell his name to WWE.
Which I understand. I understand that. Like, if he does get fired or he does go back to the Indies, like you don't want to just give up your name. But then, like, here's the thing: like, Indy Hartwell sold her name, and then but they allowed.
And she bought it back, but she never got to the level of like being that over. Like, she was more over as part of a romance angle than anything else.
Yeah. That's true.
And that's not a knock on her. That's just the booking they had.
Yeah.
It's really sad. I actually really enjoyed that storyline. The whole
I did too. I
storyline.
thought it was actually really, really good.
And
And
then
like now they've got
I
the
thought they
Wyatt
were going to
Six
bring
ring.
that over. Like, I really thought it was going to be her and Dexter Loomis showing up on
I mean, to be fair,
the
recently,
main roster together.
apparently DIY and kind of Loewe have been teasing the way again. So,
Okay, bring it on. Have
I mean,
Tommaso Ciampa involved.
I don't know if you're going to bring Austin Theory back. I mean, he doesn't really need it. But
Who knows what the fuck he needs at this point? Because I can't figure out what kind of
Needs
booking
something.
they're doing there. Yeah, like there's something that's needed, but like
That, like, I actually, like, kind of understood the idea of him being, part of the Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman group. Not because I thought that's necessarily what would be best for that group, but because I understood that that would definitely be helpful to Theory.
see, I would have said I would have not chosen Austin Theory. I would have chosen Grayson Waller. I think he would have been perfect for the group. I think he would be what they needed.
You just want Grayson Waller because he has an accent. And as soon as you hear an Australian accent, you're like, that almost sounds British. And you're like, you know what? It's not American. And screw Americans. And screw Austin Theory. You're an Austin Theory hater. You're an Austin Theory hater. You're an Austin Theory
I'm going to
hater.
tell you something right now that's going to break your.
I mean, I'm an Austin
view
Theory
on
hater
me.
too.
I'm actually.
But that's a
part
completely different
Australian.
reason.
I'm actually part Australian.
See,
Yeah, I can see it. You
he's
look like you're British.
He's outing himself right now.
He's British
Outing
Texas.
himself right now.
So technically, I'm a British-born individual, but my dad, who is Australian, is I get
Well,
my
like I said,
Australian
British
citizenship from
Texas.
him.
Anyways, then we had Jey Uso defeating Logan Paul. John Cena got involved.
Oh, sorry, that was cringe.
Okay,
You're fine. We've heated a lot here on the pod.
You need to go to timeout.
I understand why they're doing this is because they're setting up a rush match to have Logan Paul and Cena team up to cover for the Travis Scott situation. But like, it just comes across so awkward. And at this point, make it a 6-man. Make it Travis Scott, Logan Paul,
God.
John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, fucking Jey Uso, and Bad Bunny.
Well, it's
I
really
hope
ridiculous.
do it.
to God it's not Travis Scott that beats Jey Uso. Jesus fucking Christ.
No, you don't understand. By having it, if you do what he's talking about, if you have it as a 6-man tag and Travis Scott is there, seriously, Travis Scott has to get tagged in once, take a bump, 2 bumps, and eat the pinfall, and you can send people home happy. It protects everybody that matters. This is the payoff to the screw job. So, like, to not have, like, I think that's the biggest problem here is we're not seeing Travis Scott. We're not seeing any payoff to anything that The Rock did or said. John Cena and the way that he has taken his heel turn feels completely disconnected from how he turned heel.
Yeah.
And
honestly, this heel run, it started off so intriguing, and his match with Randy was good. His match with R-Truth, honestly, was entertaining. Ron Cena, do. Well, like,
it had such an easy in. The Rock went from WWE, and now he's one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. John Cena is already clearly making the transition from WWE. This is his last tour, and he's planning on going to Hollywood. So why wouldn't he sell out to the guy who's already got it made over there, so he can get the movie deals, so he can get the big money? That story writes itself.
Yeah, it's almost like, quality writing should dictate a good idea, I guess.
And it's,
Um,
and it's not like you even have to defer that far from what we have in order to have that. You just have to bring up The Rock. Like, he doesn't even have to show up. You just have to invoke his name at least.
I mean,
Yeah.
well, Brian. I mean, they are high in writers at the moment, so would you like to go and help fix
we
wars?
dunk on them way too much on this podcast for them to actually probably hire us.
Here, I got a question for you. As long as we're on the topic of Dwayne. So we got John Cena, who clearly is Dwayne's boy, and his current plan, as far as it's being presented to us, is to ruin the title legacy of Dwayne's cousin, his bloodline, the thing that's the most important to The Rock. Like, come on.
It's counterintuitive. Like, I pointed this out right after the heel turn. Yokozuna, Roman Reigns, The Rock himself have all held the WWE Championship lineage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now that makes sense. What the fuck?
Like, the problem is the context at which they're saying it isn't the context of which he's following. He's saying he's ruining wrestling by taking the ball and going home, forcing them to reboot. But like, I think they might end up letting him do it. To have a clean, fresh start in this new era. The TKO Universal Champion.
Crazy, but
Yeah, Vince Russo and Jonathan Coachman out here pitching that Vince McMahon's going to buy WWE back from TKO.
No. I'm sorry. Vince may be rich, but he's not that fucking rich.
Vince still owns like 30% of TKO stock in the company. Yeah. So like, he doesn't have to do shit. He's making buku bucks.
Well, he didn't have to. To be fair, he hasn't had to do anything since 2005.
True.
I mean, even then, he tore his fucking quads and had to walk to a fucking limo to go to the hospital.
And then finally, so yeah, we're getting Cody and Jey Uso versus Cena and Logan Paul and Money in the Bank. I was really hoping we would get CM Punk and John Cena at Money in the Bank.
That's what I guess
that kind of means then we're not going to get Cody versus Cena, and Cody's going to take the title off Cena, I guess.
SummerSlam, right around the corner.
Unless
they want to extend it and maybe have someone like Punk or somebody take it off him, or maybe build a new star. Maybe. I mean,
there's still several big shows, and Cena's still going to be at like all the PLEs, and they've still got I believe there's at least one more Saturday Night Main Event, and
there's another one next month, and then another one in August, and then one in December.
Don't they have one in October where they're going to Australia, I believe?
I thought that was Crown Jewel.
That is Crown Jewel.
Oh.
Yeah, they're doing Crown Jewel in Australia instead of Saudi Arabia because, nothing is sacred. even the Saudi Arabian money couldn't buy something sacred.
I'm saying right now, WrestleMania 43 is going to be in Saudi Arabia. I'm calling it.
Mark my words, Saudi Arabia will get a Mania before England.
Oh no, I can see it happening, and it's going to be fucking sad. Because the fact is, we've been waiting years and years and years, and Saudi
keep waiting.
Got partnership with the WWE.
Wait, hold on. That's a little racist, man. They've been waiting too. Mexico's been waiting too. Brazil, Portugal.
Yeah, but
Spain,
and this sounds
France.
really disrespectful, but we kind of invented pro wrestling. Like it started off in the UK. We kind of revolutionized it.
You might want to do a little more research on that.
And the only reason I say that is because of Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks.
You might want to do a little more research on that. I'm afraid wrestling did not originate in England.
Well, it didn't originate, but we did kind of revolutionize wrestling in like the European thing.
In the early 1800s, Western Europe, Britain, and Ireland is where the showmanship wrestling style that we see today was coined. But it has roots in, you know, America. It's got roots in
Yeah,
Japan. Obviously, Greco-Roman
Germany.
wrestling,
Yep.
Germany. Um, there's so many different places it could have. The problem is the work.
Here's yeah.
Yeah,
What it really was, Daniel, was it was a traveling show, man.
that's true.
And it wasn't
circus.
just one.
It was a
You know,
carny event.
when as soon as one carny group hears about another carny group doing something that's being successful, they pick it up and they start doing it themselves. So it
Yep.
was multiple, and they would travel around from town to town, and it was a part of it was a part of the circus. It was a part of the
Yeah.
show. There are terms in this industry that we still use to this day, like mark, that come directly from the carny industry.
Yeah, yeah.
A mark, use a mark would back in the carnival. If they saw somebody who they knew had a good amount of money on them or something, they'd mark them with chalk. So as they were walking down the fairways, all the guys who were running those games, they'd see the mark, the chalk mark on the pants of the mark that they wanted to attract, and that was the guy they were going to just conveniently screw with every one of those games. Just conveniently screw out of a little bit more money, a little bit more money, a little bit more money, because he was the one who had it, and they could all get rich off him.
Yep.
This has been your
Rock. I don't
history
think we're getting
lesson. That's
Rock.
right.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting
Rock
Rock versus Cena in any way. It doesn't make sense at this point.
Actually, it kind of does in a weird way. Like they're both one apiece. Like
It would require Dwayne showing up to work and
Yeah.
delivering on his promises.
And considering I think he's trying to save himself for Woman against him and I see him in Vegas. I believe.
His retirement match, his full retirement match, will be against Roman. There's no other choice.
So
Like,
that's the
it's-
car. I'm sorry.
I ain't got to say my catchphrase. I ain't got to say it, Dan. Don't even gotta
Shameful
say
is
it.
what it is. Shameful.
All right. Main event of Saturday night. Main event. John Cena defeats Ron Cena, aka R-Truth. R-Truth is a national treasure, and like this was a good match. It was entertaining. Like I honestly, I thought it would have been hilarious if they
It should
would
have
have had a
gone
little
longer.
kid named Jimmy. Should have gone longer. I think it would have been really hilarious if after all these years there was a kid named Jimmy involved. That like Cena,
Well, technically,
like
he did
Cena
have
had
a
like
Jimmy.
kidnapped a
You know,
kid or
his
something
name
like
is Big
that.
Jim.
No, what I
Oh God,
really
Jimmy
was
Uso, little Jimmy.
okay. Is it just me, or would you guys feel better about the tag team match if Cody's partner was R-Truth? I would
Yes.
feel better about that tag team match if Cody's partner was R-Truth and Jey Uso could just go off and defend the world title.
Yeah.
Yes. It feels well, and like unless they're planning on having Cena ruin wrestling by having him be the one to beat Jey Uso.
I mean, that would be interesting to see.
I could see them doing it. God damn it. Anyways, so I retain the title. I'll defend it the next pay-per-view Money in the Bank.
Congratulations. I'm gonna cash in my Money in the Bank on you. I just want you to know now.
Ooh, we need something like that. We need a Money in the Bank kind of.
We'll work out the details on that. Maybe it's a pop quiz thing.
Ooh.
Where it has to be judged by someone.
Yeah. Ooh.
Maybe that's how we
Ooh.
determine a number one contenders match. The champion reads off questions, and whoever gets the best 2 out of 3 right is the number one. There's a million ways we can go about this. Just want to quickly highlight NXT Battleground. Stephanie McCurry, she's ready for the main event. Get her up there. Bring Booker T with her. No kidding. Bring Booker T with Trick Williams. Trick Williams is the new TNA champ.
Woo! Whoop that Trick. Who did he beat?
Joe Hendry, who definitely has to be getting signed by WWE at some point this year.
I mean,
God, I hope so, because at this point they're kind of buried. I feel like WWE's kind of buried Joe Hendry a little bit. Like Joe
I'm pretty sure
Hendry
he's getting
lost.
signed.
He lost in 2 minutes at WrestleMania to Randy Orton. He turns around and loses the TNA title to Trick Williams. Like I'm just saying, it's a little frustrating because I do kind of feel like he's just being thrown under the bus.
I have to disagree. I'm sorry. I don't think he's being buried. If anything, I think he's really being pushed towards, becoming that main eventer. And I think getting a match, anything with Randy Orton for 2-3 minutes, I think was perfect. And also, losing to Trick Williams was not ideal, but I think obviously he needs to rest up and recover from his injuries.
Honestly, I think it helps TNA in a way getting the belt off of Joe Hendry. I think Joe's getting signed to WWE and coming right up to the main event. I think he's the perfect. Could you imagine him and Jacob Fatu having a feud? Like that'd be gold. Like he's got to be coming to the main roster. Him losing to Randy, I wasn't a fan of it, and I'm okay with him losing, but I'm not okay with how quick it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it was reasonable to expect him to be able to beat Randy.
Yeah,
I mean, it's Randy fucking Orton.
I didn't expect anyone that came out to beat Randy, but I do think that they could have at least given him 5 minutes.
Yeah. Although I do think
just
they
3 more
definitely
minutes.
are setting up what's his name, Mike Santana to win the TNA title, which is
fine. But let Trick have a good run with it. Honestly, I think it would be really entertaining to have Trick have a really solid run with the TNA title, defend it against a bunch of TNA people that they want to build up, and have it be like a mini invasion thing where Trick is revealed to be the leader of that Dark State group, and then they invade TNA.
I mean, to be fair, I would like to see RVD versus Trick Williams. Maybe that's just me, but I think that'd be quite
RVD still wrestling?
I think so. I'm pretty sure he's still wrestling. I mean, from last time I heard, he was still doing a few indie shows. So But then again, when you've got a hot wife as he does, then you tend not to.
Speaking of indie shows, Brian, before we jump into doing Monday Night Raw, I know you've got something that you wanted to highlight here on the pod.
Yeah, you got the graphic?
I can put it up if you want.
There you go. So for anyone in the Michigan area, August 16th and 17th, the Motor City Championship Wrestling Expo is going to be in New Baltimore, Michigan. It's going to be an awesome opportunity to meet all of the best indie talents from all over Michigan, as well as some WWE Hall of Famers. Ron Simmons, the first ever Black World Champion, is going to be there. Teddy Long is a personal hero of mine. I'm going to ask him if he can sign a tag team match. The Godfather is going to be there. The Brooklyn Brawler is going to be there.
One-on-one with him.
We're going to have WWE ID member Freedom Ramsey is going to be there. Just so many talented people are all going to be
Soul
there.
Taker.
And, even this guy
Johnson
is going to be there. So come on down, say hi, and get some autographs, take some pictures, meet some legends.
Yeah, you can't forget Whip Dog up in the corner there, friend of the pod over at the Whip Show. I mean, it looks like quite the lineup. I'm excited for you, and I believe you're going to be working down there too, so you'll have a booth.
Yep, I will be there. So come down, say hi. Be happy to take a picture with you.
Yeah, he'll tell you to do fucking better.
Probably.
So Monday Night Raw. I'm gonna be full transparency with you guys. This Monday Night Raw was as average could get.
Yeah.
It was about here. It was about here. It
Honestly,
wasn't a full here. It was
Brian,
like-
I would kind of just like to just skim through it, just speed through one.
I'll be honest. Like I watched it and I was just like, man, this is genuinely fucking like not good.
The
We had
only-
a serviceable opening promo.
On it. Like we'll talk about it briefly, but let's not talk about it too long because it's not a good episode.
Look, there was only one highlight of this show for me, and that was Liv and like
that whole interaction
that story
was
that
the highlight of the show.
I will.
best
I will.
stuff in the show. Other than
Understand
that,
why Dom likes Roxanne though. I mean, those nuggets look fucking delicious. I mean, I want them so badly. They look nice.
dude, no. I'm tenders over nuggets all day long. I think this is an important poll to get up onto the website. As a matter of fact, we're gonna get this going right now. Poll of are you about nuggets or are you about chicken strips?
I'm on it.
Support the nugget guy. The nuggets are for life. Nuggets versus tenders. Who will win?
Are you putting the poll up, Evan, or am I making this poll?
I'm doing it now.
All right. I won't. We don't need two of them.
I love how actually doing this. Tenders or nuggets.
Oh yeah, no, I want everybody to jump onto Facebook and to go to the Standards of Geekness podcast Facebook page, and I want you to cast your vote on which you prefer. Do you prefer chicken nuggets or chicken tenders? This is the Dominic Mysterio poll.
What does the winner win? What does the winner get?
The winner gets the chance to ask a random trivia fact that we will figure out the answer to next week.
Come on, my.
I'll come up with a question. I'll tell you what.
I knew
I'll
you got
come up with
cancelled there. Jesus Christ. I knew you got cancelled. Jesus.
Jesus Christ, Dan. I give you a mile and you take a buck an acre.
All right, we're doing the close one. Jesus Christ.
I'm letting you know right now, Tendies is in the lead. Mostly because
chicken tenders are just more delicious because it's like real chicken.
Yeah,
it's not processed chicken.
Yeah, but McDonald's nuggets are fucking delicious. They're nice and oily and fatty and just mwah.
You know what? I think you just made my argument for me.
I'm not just saying that because I work in McDonald's and I'm endorsing the brand. That is not the case.
Yeah, if you're endorsing them, they owe us royalties.
Yeah.
No, Daniel, you guys just got Taco Bell in the UK. You don't get the comment on chicken.
Oh no, I've had Taco Bell. It's the dribbling shits. Like it's
that's
not
what
good.
It gives you. Beyond the good stuff between Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio, really all that we had to speak of that's going to be important moving forward is we're going to have Jey Uso defending the world title against Gunther coming up at the Raw
again
after the Raw after Money in the Bank. And
this whole thing
we had a couple of qualifying matches. So we've got Penta in Money in the Bank. Penta in Money in the Bank is going to be hot.
Yeah, I like having Vikingo getting involved with Gable because it sets up. They're throwing a bone to the AAA show. They're going to be running with NXT Worlds Collide. Vikingo is going to be taking on Chad Gable in the main event. I'm sorry, you're missing a golden opportunity not having it be Vikingo versus Grande Americano.
Do you know what though?
No, wait. I'm still impressed personally that Vikingo is going to be defending the AAA World Heavyweight Championship that he hasn't beaten Alberto El Patron for yet.
I know. Talk about a fucking spoiler, right?
It's almost
Like-
like this stuff is all scripted out.
Yeah, like I'm looking at like what happened, and like the only other highlight for me was the Becky and Lyra promo segment. They're still keeping it going strong.
Yes.
It was a little. Becky does need to work on her facial expressions when she's a heel. She has very cringe facial expressions. I thought it was hilarious how they're like, she's like my hot husband, and then Lyra's like, your hot husband. The only reason you're relevant. I'm like, up until this last year, Becky had as many main events as Seth did at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Like,
How he?
come
I
on
think,
now.
like the fact that she is, well, the first ever, well, technically one of the first 3 women to main event WrestleMania. I mean,
Well, she won. Like, my point is like, up until that moment, it was really good. It's a little interesting. I did like that Kari Sane was that a qualifying match for the women's Money in the Bank, or was that just a normal match? Because they weren't
think-
very.
I think it
They
was,
weren't-
but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that pop up on my screen. And then seeing Carrie and Sammy's backstage reaction, and then Seth winning the main event over Sammy and Finn was obvious given how they're pushing it. I did like Dom and Finn. The issues getting teased more there. This is clearly leading to them feuding for the IC title at SummerSlam. Other than that, it was just a C. It was a C+ show in my opinion. Like calling it a B- show is an insult to B-.
do you know what? Though I really do hope like that storyline does come to a finish. If the Judgment Day are going to break up, I hope it does come back round to the whole Liv, AJ, and Finn teaming up against the Judgment Day thing. I hope it's kind of like this was always the plan, you know, get inside the club, get inside Judgment Day, and destroy it from within. Because then it would have been a good payoff. It's like, oh, okay, this was 2-3 years in the making. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we do have something a little bit more fun planned.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
We do.
Without further ado, I guess
It's just time.
the standards of Geekness. Greatest of all time professional wrestling tournament. We're taking 64 of the greatest of all time and putting them into a bracket and letting you, the fans, vote on them. We'll be voting alongside you guys, but this will be completely fan determined. There'll be nothing involved in regards to this. It's a fun little thing. We're going to be recording some video content for it and doing polls on Facebook. I'll have some TikToks up and hopefully some Instagrams, Reels, even though Reels seem to cut off all the time.
That being said, oh, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. That being said, when we put up these polls, please feel free to have discussions, lively debate, but keep it respectful in the comments.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So who do you guys think? Do you guys want to reveal the list of names that are on this?
Oh, we've definitely got to reveal the list.
Yeah.
We got to
Okay.
reveal the list.
All right. Well, I'm still working on getting the art up for this because my art system was being stupid. So we've got the Shawn Michaels bracket. Obviously, Shawn Michaels bracket. Shawn Michaels is going to be defending his bracket. We've got Buddy Rogers, the original Nature Boy. We've got Tommy Dreamer, you know, hardcore legend. You got Buddy Rogers, the original Nature Boy. Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid. Jake the Snake Roberts. You got Roman Reigns, the OTC, the Tribal Chief. Nick Bockwinkel, one of the best heels of all time, one of my personal favorite heels. If you haven't watched Nick Bockwinkel, do yourself a favor, go on YouTube, look up his stuff in the AWA. He was the heel that worked against Hulk Hogan before Hulkamania took off.
Mm-hmm.
When Hulkamania started to actually be a thing. His heel work is, you know, if you want to learn how to cut a heel promo, Nick Bockwinkel is where you should start. We've got Booker T, 5-time. Oh, now I see where Sasha Banks / Mercedes Moné got that.
It just occurred to him.
It just clicked. We've got Kerry Von Erich. We've got Tully Blanchard. We've got Gorilla Monsoon, one of the OG big men, which if you haven't watched I know a lot of people know Gorilla Monsoon for his commentary work in the late 80s, early 90s. Gorilla back in the late 50s and 60s was a monster. A monster of a heel. And he did amazing work.
There's a reason he got the name Gorilla. Like amongst in a world of giants, he was called a gorilla.
I wonder if Gorilla Monsoon can take on 100 gorillas.
I don't know, Dan. The only person I'm confident that could beat off 100 gorillas is you.
I mean, I'll take it. I mean, I thought it could.
Are we still in the Shawn Michaels bracket?
We're still in the Shawn Michaels bracket. We've got Brock Lesnar, Kevin Nash. Obviously, Brock Lesnar, former NCAA collegiate wrestling champion, former WWE Universal, WWE champion, World Heavyweight champion. I mean, Brock is Brock. Anyone that says he's not one of the greatest of all time is delusional. We've all had issues with Brock's part-timeness.
Arguably, I would definitely say he is probably one of the best sellers of all time as well.
One of the best sellers. He's one of the biggest attractions of all time. Once Taker's streak died, it was literally just Brock was the attraction at that point.
But
and it meant something when Brock showed up.
Andre the Giant, that is a question.
Well, we're going to find out later in this tournament. Spoilers.
Yeah, we will.
Okay. Let them go.
Daniel Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, whichever version of him you want to vote for, whether it's the yes chant, whether it's the I'm going to kick your fucking head off. We've got Owen Hart.
Hey, Daniel. He's not a nugget. Owen, I mean, you are.
I am not a nugget. Bret Hart and Hiroshi Tanahashi. In the Stone Cold Steve Austin bracket, I mean, if you guys haven't already seen our naming convention, Stone Cold Steve Austin will be defending his bracket. He will be there. We've got Christian, Captain Charisma, the father of professional wrestling. We've got the Scottish psychopath, Big D, Drew McIntyre. Junkyard Dog, which one of the most iconic African American wrestlers of all time. If you haven't watched some of the Mid-South stuff that he did back in the 70s, his feuds with $1 Million Man, it was peak wrestling at that time. He was a trailblazer and an icon.
The end of the territory days, Junkyard Dog was ruling the yard, man.
You could honestly say he was on par with Hulkamania in terms of popularity.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got John Cena, the GOAT, as he calls himself, and as they called him, Mr. 17-time world champion. You've got Diamond Dallas Page, the WCW People's Champion. You've got Dusty Rhodes and Cody Rhodes.
Ooh.
The American Dream and the American Nightmare, honey.
Oh,
baby. That's going to be a good match, baby. I can't wait to see the American Nightmare face off against the American Dream, baby.
The Dream is going to spank the Nightmare. The British Bulldog versus Seth freaking Rollins, the Visionary, the Architect. We've got Jushin Thunder Liger, Rey Mysterio. I mean, we've seen that match actually in real life before, so it'll be interesting. Eddie Guerrero and Sergeant Slaughter. I mean, he lies, he cheats, he steals versus I don't have nice things to say about Sergeant Slaughter, but we will respect him. And then Undertaker versus Mr. Perfect.
I'm just like, you're saying some of these, and even as they're coming across, I'm like, man, that is so hard to call.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Perfect and The Undertaker.
We're only halfway through, guys. We've got the Ric Flair bracket. I mean, woo!
Woo!
Limousine, the jet riding, limousine fly, or jet flying, limousine riding, wheeling dealing son of a gun is going to defend his bracket. We've got Ric Flair and Bob Backlund. Mr. Chicken Wing, Chicken Wing.
Classic right there.
We've got Bray Wyatt and Harley Race.
Yeah.
That actually has a really, really, really good chance of being a good match. We've
It's kind
got
of sad
Barry
that we don't
Windham
get to see
versus.
these. Like, don't get to actually
I
watch
know. I
these
wish.
matches.
I wish there was a way we could do it, but
Yeah. Can't watch them in their prime.
maybe if one of our dedicated fans out there wants to do that, they could. We've got Barry Windham and Ricky Steamboat, Ricky the Dragon. Bruno Sammartino, one of the OGs, versus Randy Orton. Roddy Piper versus Kazuchika Okada, which, given what we saw with Roddy doing if this was like a real thing where Roddy was actually cutting promos, you remember how they don't show it on TV, but he did the half painted face?
Yep.
He would have done something like that probably. Batista and Kenny Omega. CM Punk and Edge. Chris Jericho and Triple H.
I just gotta say, I think it's funny how like some of these are matches that we never got to see or anything, and then just randomly in there you have, oh, by the way, this was a WrestleMania main event. Nobody remembered it because it went on after Rock Hogan, but it actually was a WrestleMania main event.
Yeah, and I mean these were all randomized, so I mean, it's just funny how it happens. And then we have the Hulk Hogan bracket. Now, I know, guys, we're not big fans of Hulk Hogan here, but we're trying to look beyond, pieces of shit and.
Yeah. But if
we
you
hope
put
this
against
works
Hulk
for you, brother.
Hogan, then please
I mean,
do.
one of these names on here is somebody that I'm not a big fan of, but I'm trying to put my feelings aside and let the fan bases out there enjoy the content we're doing, the content these wrestlers did. Whether you vote for them, that's up to you. Hulk Hogan will be facing.
If Hulk Hogan wins, I'll drink some of his American beer on camera.
Stop
You'll
that.
drink what?
Stop that. No. Hold on. I'm going to stop you right there. Because we're not going to influence this, Daniel. There's going to be no, like, prizes for anything. We don't want this to get skewed. We want this to be honest. We want everybody to vote for who they actually see winning between Wrestler A and Wrestler B. Okay?
Mm-hmm. I know you got excited there.
If you want to go drink crappy, expensive beer, you do that on your own time.
Hulk Hogan versus Mick Foley. Match I don't think we ever got to see. Some real heat. Big Van Vader versus Ron Simmons. I mean, we've seen that match in WCW.
Another absolute classic banger of a match right there.
AJ Styles versus Bruiser Brody. That could be a bloody one. $1 Million Man versus.
Just think about that one, like actually happening for a second. Like, you got AJ Styles flying all over the ring, and then you got Bruiser Brody just like standing there catching him, slamming him down.
And for me, all these guys are going to be at their peak power, too. So, like, that way we get the best of the best. We've got $1 Million Man versus Antonio Inoki, which that one could be a really, really good one. Andre the Giant versus The Rock.
Holy fuck! I can't imagine a rock bottom on Andre.
I mean, it can happen. Kurt Angle versus Big Show. I mean, we've seen that one. There were blow darts involved. Sting versus Rob Van Dam. We actually saw that one.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, oh yeah, the cream of the crop rises to the top. The Macho Man Randy Savage, yeah. And Mr. Benoit, you're going nowhere. Chris Benoit is the last champion of the tournament.
I
I
mean,
told you I'd fucking do it. Told you I'd fucking do it.
We
I
said
can't
we
tell
would
if
put
he's
Benoit
going to
and
be walking
him.
out on there or he's going to be leaving it in a fucking body bag.
We want the whole point of this is for everyone in the wrestling community to come together to have the debates respectfully.
Wait,
Do
quick question.
fucking
Did
better
we
as we
say
always
Eddie
preach.
Guerrero?
Yes, Eddie Guerrero is in a
Okay.
different bracket.
Yep.
You think I'd leave Eddie Guerrero off a greatest of all time bracket when he's like one of my top 5 of all time?
Yeah. Well, I didn't think you would, but I didn't hear it, so maybe I just.
There were a lot of names. There were 64 names. So.
And if your favorite didn't make the list, we're sorry. It's nothing personal. This is all for fun. The only people whose favorites we were trying to keep off the list were Daniel's.
Yeah, because I wanted Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks, which were fucking legendary.
You were just trying to exclusively name British wrestlers.
Yes.
I mean, hell, you didn't put Will Ospreay in there or Zack Sabre Jr. How did you not put those two in? Well,
I think that the argument that was made, excuse me, was that they are still too young into their big level careers for us to put them on a greatest of all time.
Yeah,
but then I feel like Will Ospreay definitely does have an argument to be on the list.
Ospreay realistically has just recently started becoming a worldwide commodity, onto a product that is broadcast worldwide in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think there is someone we are missing off the list.
Who?
Well, it's a list of 64, and I can tell you there are names that we pitched to be on this list and couldn't make, not everybody can make the cut.
I was gonna say 7.
Here, I got a question for you. I got a question for you. So you said we're taking all these guys at their peak, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for the Shawn Michaels bracket, is peak Shawn Michaels like 1996 Shawn Michaels, or like WrestleMania 25 Shawn Michaels?
25.
When they had their peak moments.
Yeah. So it's going to be WrestleMania 25.
Well, I would
that would be WrestleMania 25.
Well, I mean, I would say that 25 was. If you look at the match quality of something like 25, and then you look at the match quality of Shawn Michaels versus Mick Foley, they're both pretty high up there. I mean,
yeah, I guess. I mean, if you're gonna look at Shawn's peak, wouldn't his peak really be the early '90s when he was first champ?
I mean, well, that's kind of what I'm saying. You can make argument you could make an argument that peak Shawn Michaels is against Bret Hart in the Iron Man match. You could make the argument that peak Shawn Michaels is DX Shawn Michaels. You could make an argument that peak Shawn Michaels is the reborn Shawn Michaels.
I think peak Shawn Michaels is when he was part of DX with Hornswoggle.
Get the fuck out.
We just let you be a part of this show, and then you come on and you say stupid stuff like that, and just like that, it's back to a two-man podcast. Welcome to Standards of Geekness, where just me and my co-host here, Evan, like to talk about wrestling, and we don't say stupid stuff.
USA made only, none of this British garbage on our shore. I want you guys to know at home, you can't see it, but we can see Daniel in the studio room on this app. He's losing his mind. Hey Dan.
Steve, wasn't
it's
Shawn
soccer, not
pretty
football.
peak versus Scott Hall during the legendary ladder match? Absolutely. I will agree that again. That's one of the things I'm saying about, and I won't say this about everybody, because there are definitely some who have low points in their career, high points in their career. Shawn, there are so many peaks in his career. It's
Mhm.
kind of hard to even say.
Well, and I mean, with
You
like
know,
Hogan,
you could make. I was just gonna
4-year
say
run.
Hulk Hogan. Are we talking about? You know, are you talking about classic Hulkamania Hulk Hogan? Or are we talking about
NWO Hogan.
NWO Hogan?
Or you talk about modern day Hulk Hogan.
We
You
don't
said
talk
peak.
about that here. I'm gonna
Don't
make you
talk
ride the
about
bus
Bruno.
with him. You're gonna ride the back of the bus with Hulk Hogan, man.
Oh god, that'd be such a
I
disaster.
agree. I think '80s Hulkamania, Hulk Hogan, that 4-year run where he was the champ, that was his true peak, in my opinion.
I have to agree with you. I think that pretty much starting at the Slam, heard around the world WrestleMania 3, and then
Yeah.
I think WrestleMania 3 is where I see peak Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that like the start of the peak happened when he beat Sheik, and then I think once Mania started happening, it kept going up and up. Mania 2 kind of went a little Mania 3 was where it repeaked, and then Mania 4 and 5 and so on. You know,
Ooh,
I
that's
mean,
like
an
it
idea
was
for the
definitely a
next one then.
multi-year thing. Like I don't
yeah,
think I would put the WrestleMania 3 against Andre in terms of his peak higher than like the Mega Powers. I think like
yeah. I think
we're
anything
just
beyond
not
that's just
we're not going to talk
well. I mean,
about him and Yokozuna. That kind of stuff doesn't
yeah.
even come up.
You know, and the thing is like you look at like Andre the Giant. Andre's peak actually was in the late '50s, early '60s when he was at his peak.
Um,
Statistically,
I
in the
would
'70s too, like
I would say the early 70s. I would argue the early 70s was his peak.
yeah. I guess
Because
yeah, it's true.
it's
It'd be yeah, because he came in the late '50s. Yeah,
it's
so
not
yeah,
it's
I
not
think you're
just
right.
about what he was he was able to physically do more younger, obviously.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, he wasn't.
but
You know, he
there's
I've
a
got an
level of
idea.
learning the business that I think he had to take in.
I've got
And
an idea. After the tournament, why don't we do the worst of all time tournament? Where we get some of the worst wrestlers, worst
okay.
people.
I'm okay with this idea, but let's space it out. This
Okay.
tournament's going to take a little while, Dan.
Oh, of course, of course. But it would be
But
interesting.
I'm not
Who
opposed.
would win that? Giant
Now,
Gonzalez?
question: so for worst of all time, are they terrible people, or are they the worst wrestlers of all time? Are they the jobbers of all time?
well,
Pretty much
that's
all
where
of
we
There's
the
a
get the
lot of
different
categories.
worst
brackets.
talkers,
That's where
worst
we get the different
wrestlers,
brackets.
and then worst people.
Also, I want to point it out
Glacier's
before
finally
we
going
end
to
the
win
podcast.
something.
I just want to point it out. There's now a TNA talent or WWE talent are now being paid to show up in TNA, and TNA talent are being paid to show up on the main roster. Free the Highlanders, god damn it!
I'm saying, man, bring back Rory and Robbie. They did nothing wrong.
I wonder
man.
if Vince McMahon will win that tournament, though. I mean, he's definitely
We'll
got a
cross
chance
that
of
bridge when
winning
we
it.
get to it.
Well, yeah.
Um,
Let's focus. Let's focus on the greatest tournament. You stop jumping to the next thing. Focus on what we have right in front of us,
Of course.
and that's a greatest
we'll
of all
post
time tournament.
we'll post the first 4 matches for next week's show. We'll do 4 at a time for the first round, and then as we get further down, we'll do more and more. But yeah, I think we'll post those probably first thing in the morning. We'll leave voting open until Sunday night, or maybe we'll do Monday at noon.
We can do it till Monday now. We can go till
Yeah.
Monday now.
But yeah, we're excited for this. I know I am.
And for those of you who haven't caught on yet, here Tuesday nights is your new home for the Standards of Geekness. So we're not going to be doing our show on Mondays anymore. It's going to be Tuesdays from now on. This gives us a chance to see Raw instead of recording in the middle of it, which is nice.
A little less competition. We don't want to take too many viewers away from Triple H.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy needs help. Just look how hard he's trying to get up his ticket prices. Look at that. We brought it full circle.
Speaking of getting up and getting up your ticket prices, make sure you go to enforce2.com. We haven't done it in a while. Enter the code SOG25 to get your 25%
Wow.
off. It'll
Just-
make you HARD.
Just wow. That's it.
But
Just
really,
keep plugging
guys,
the fake. We'll just keep plugging the fake sponsors. We have
we haven't
real
done that one in a
sponsors
little while.
now. We have
We have
real
the real
sponsors
sponsor, duelingguard.com /SOG. Get you 5% off. It'll make me HARD.
now. Oh, that was good. That was good.
All right, guys. Well, that'll do it for us tonight. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you guys next week.
See you later, guys.
Night, guys.